Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, everyone. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Let me introduce myself. My name is Affan Said, and I'm a student in Telkom University. And my student ID is 15022034343. And I'm from Group F. And my friends are Tiara Fitri, Ricky, and Ghivari Ramadana. So right now I want to tell you the differences and the similarities of my dream country, which is Japan. So I want to tell you the differences first. So first one, in Indonesia, there is always water for washing in public toilets. Meanwhile, in Japan, there is rarely water for washing in public toilets. They more often use a tissue. So I think, on my opinion, Indonesia is more cleaner, I think. The second one is people in Indonesia sometimes still irregular. Meanwhile, people in Japan can be more effective to use the time. So in Indonesia, I admit it's not too I can't explain. So the third one, the traffic jam in Indonesia sometimes chaos. Sometimes it can't be, you know. And meanwhile, in Japan, the traffic conditions are more orderly. They prefer public transportation to private vehicles. The fourth one, in Indonesia, the rubbish is not all of them recycled. And meanwhile, in Japan, they are all recycle the rubbish. So right now, I want to tell you the similarity. And the first one is both flags have the same shades of red and white. The second one is both are located on the continent of Asia, which is obviously right. And the third one, equally, there are still many farmers, even though Japan is a developed country. But in Japan, there are still many people whose livelihoods are farmers, just like Indonesia. The fourth one is equally the staple food is rice. And then the last one, we got Indonesia, Japan, and Indonesia are both archipelagic countries. Well, I think that is all from me. Thank you so much for listening to me. I'm Affan Said from Group F. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Hello guys, my name is Tiara Fitri Adita and I want to tell you about the similarities and the differences between Indonesia and my dream country. But before we get into the topic, let me tell you about my dream country. So my dream country is in United States of America, specifically in New York. So let me start with the difference first. So in Indonesia, there is one specific day that we need to use our batik like in Friday, but in America they didn't use that, so they just using a formal clothes. For women like me, they basically just use trouser and shirt. And the second differences is in Indonesia, most employee using their private transportation to go to the work, but in USA they just using public transportation like underground train, bus, taxi, or stuff like that. And the third one is Indonesia was a republic country, meanwhile America was an union state country. And then Indonesia was more like heaven of seas, like island, heaven of nature, but in America they just like a tall building or the skyscraper like that. So yeah, and then I want to tell you about the similarities. The first one, that Indonesia and USA is having the most tolerance toward religion, so they respect every religion. And the second one is Indonesia and USA is a presidential country, so they lead by their president. And the third one is Indonesia and USA is democrat, and the last one is Indonesia and USA having the beautiful tourist destination.
My name is Ricky Nurasantoro, and I'm going to tell you the difference between Indonesia and my dream country, and that is UK. So the first difference is in Indonesia, employees should use certain title to call their boss. For example, we use ibu for female boss. Meanwhile, in the UK, they usually doesn't use any honorifics for their boss or superior because people there usually doesn't use any honorifics at all. And the second one is in Indonesia, people use private vehicle to go to somewhere they want to. Meanwhile, in the UK, people mostly walk or use the bus to go to their destination. And the third one is Indonesia has a civil law system, meanwhile UK has a common law system. And the last difference is there's a lot of tribes in Indonesia, so it affects the work culture very much. Meanwhile, there are still tribes in the UK, but it's not as much in Indonesia, so it doesn't affect the work culture that much. And the second one is the similarity between these two. So both Indonesia and UK are republic country. Both of them are also archipelagic countries. They have island all over them. And they also have free healthcare system. And the last one, Indonesia and UK generally have a more relaxed and social workplace.
Okay, so I begin with myself. My name is Ghivari Ramadana. I'm from international class. Um, as now, I want to tell the similarities and the differences between Indonesia and my dream country. At first, I will tell my dream country. My dream country is Australia. So I will tell the similarities and differences now. Indonesia. In Indonesia, people tend to go around or go outside with private transportation, while in Australia, people tend to get around or go outside with public transportation. Second, Indonesia workers sometimes tend to be late for coming for work or meeting, while Australia workers come for work or meeting at the time or already arrive before 15 minutes. Indonesia has a bad air quality because of deforestation, factory pollution, waste, and often use private transportation, while Australia has good air quality because they rule restriction to defeat deforestation, factory policy, and less use private transportation. And the last is the majority religion of Indonesia is Islam and have strict rules that have related to Islam rules, while Australians tend not to view as religion they use like common law, and it can be considered that Australia is liberty country. And now next, I tell the similarity between Indonesia and Australia. Indonesia and Australia are part of region have a same season like summer and rainy season. And second, Indonesia and Australia have the same trading partner. The country is China. And third, Indonesia and Australia choose the English language as the international language. Fourth, Indonesia and Australia are in the Middle Pacific and Indian Ocean. I think that's all I want to have tell about similarity and difference between Indonesia. Thank you, Miser, for hearing my explanation.